Excuse me.
Let me share my screen again. So, okay, in your packets, we had discussed this a few months ago regarding Danforth Street and Hillside Street parking, changing and adding parking on both of those streets. Part of this was in association with the Sarah Getchell Trail and providing accessible access and parking for the trail, as well as providing structured parking at the park at the intersection of Danforth and Cottage. So in your packet here and up on the board, we have a proposed layout of permanent parking. So this parking wouldn't alternate left to right on even and odd years. It would be marked on the ground and appropriately signed. You can see here, beginning at Concord Street, providing parking on the left side and providing a bike lane because of the excessive width. Provide it's a 11-foot lane for one-way traffic, a 6-foot lane for the bike lane, and 7-foot parking lanes. As you can see, we have parking through Sudbury Landing. Again, Sarah Getchell Trailhead is on Sudbury Landing. Right now, we're showing parking is marked on the bridge, but that would most likely not be proposed. Picking up again on the east side of the bridge, parking continues on the left side, bike lane on the right with a buffer where we have the additional width. And as you approach Stern Street, shifting the traffic to the left side of the road and moving the parking to the right side adjacent to the park. This provides two things, parking closer to the park for utilization of the park, as well as moving the through traffic an offset to the left side, which provides for speed reductions as a mitigation measure. Maintaining the bike lane and buffer through until you approach Cottage Street, where the traffic would shift back to the right side, where Danforth Street is two-way as you cross Cottage Street. So we want to make sure that through traffic is on the correct side of the road at that point. And providing bump outs and crossings at a couple of locations on Danforth Street. The Hillside Street parking. This has actually been striped right now, temporary striping for the outer edge. Modifications were made to the approaches at both ends of the pedestrian bridge, and this will allow ADA accessible access from the bottom of Hillside Street across the bridge to the accessible Carol Getchell Trail. So those are the two streets with the proposed parking amendments. Some of this may require additional signage. I think if the commission were to approve this, we'll propose the signage for this if necessary and bring it back. This parking adjustment would be a modification to the rules and regs, and we would make that amendment at a later date.
Okay. Do you wish to make a motion?
I don't know if there's anyone to speak on it.
Sorry.
Comments?
Yeah.
Well, I do know there's someone to speak on it.
So I'm Steve Wiseman. I live on Stern Street. I was here May 27th asking for this parking, and I'm thrilled to see a plan. As a member of the Friends of Saxonville, we've been working to try to resolve the nightmare that is McGrath Square in terms of traffic movement. and Danforth is a big part of it. It's become a huge cut-through. I think when the DPW did traffic counts most recently, we're up to 2,200 cars a day going down Danforth Street on average to OCP. So I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the specifics of the proposal, but again, I think the DPW hit it out of the park with this plan. It's really good. It addresses 3 parking needs. We have no on-street parking in the square, so this provides some amount of on-street parking that can support retail businesses in the square. We have no on-street parking for the Carol Getchell Nature Trail, which is about to reopen with, as Matt said, an ADA accessible boardwalk. And then at Danforth Park, again, there's no parking at all. It's a very popular park for soccer practice for kids. So this helps with that problem as well. Again, as Matt says, it will slow the traffic at the intersection of Danforth and Cottage Street just by virtue of having vehicles moving back and forth from lane to lane. The designated bicycle lanes were more than we had hoped for, so that's great. And it also finally makes use of one whole lane of traffic that has been just striped out for 10 years or 20 years when Danforth Street became one way. So it's great. I do have a few suggestions for some enhancements, which I think are worth considering. So the rebuild of the Carol Getchell Nature Trail is being widely promoted because of the ADA accessible boardwalk there. And as a result of that, we anticipate it's going to become a magnet to people who are less abled or wheelchair bound even. The trail has been designed for people who are in wheelchairs. But it lacks appropriate parking. There's one space on Hillside. So we're suggesting there be additional ADA designated or handicapped accessible places. Perhaps, as I was talking to Matt earlier this week, perhaps on the approach to Sudbury Landing as a possibility if there's going to be no parking on the bridge. And then there'll need to be curb cuts as well to deal with that, but at least a couple more spaces. Mr. Sarkeesian, when I was out there with him, he suggested perhaps a van parking spot as a possibility. So then I want to talk about Stern Street. There's a new crosswalk at Stern Street. I live on Stern Street, and I really welcome being able to cross the street there. It's always been a problem, particularly because the cars that are coming one way on Danforth are coming around the curve, up the hill. They tend to accelerate at that point, so at least it creates a point of crossing. I am concerned about the sight lines to the crosswalk, given the layout of the road and given the vehicle speed out of the square. So I want to make a couple of specific suggestions. One is posted speed limits from the bridge to Stern Street. We've had many conversations about what the speed limit is. I guess it's 25, but there are no signs anyplace on Danforth Street that indicate the speed. And people approach the road from many side streets, and there should be some signage. I think currently there's just one playground sign on Danforth Street, and I think there should be more of those. Maybe some kind of a park ahead warning between the bridge and Stern Street, so as people are coming up the hill on Danforth, they can anticipate they're coming into an area with a park. I think there should be a sign, given what's happening with the lane changes, that we're actually warning people that there's a lane change ahead. There should be a sign for that. In general, I think we need to continue to reinforce the 25 mile per hour speed limit. I spent a long time this morning at the intersection of Concord and Danforth on the corner where the parking lot is. And I think I called you yesterday and said, I just missed an accident by a few minutes, but everyone who's interested in traffic should be at that corner and see what people will do to make that shortcut work for them, whether they're coming south on Elm or whether they're coming out of Central Street, or even coming out of the parking lot at the mill and trying to cross 2 lanes of traffic to get down Danforth Street. It's a real mess. When you add the parking places at the park, I think it would be helpful to restrict the on-grass parking on Cottage Street. So that's currently where people park. They just pull off between the telephone poles, and it's sort of this muddy, grassy area. That should be a sidewalk, even if it's not a paved sidewalk, so people can walk into the park from the parking spaces. And then I think it would be worthwhile to continue this new bike lane, which stops at Cottage Street, up Danforth Street. Danforth is another very wide street. It would just be a striping issue to add that, even with a buffer. I think that would make a big difference there, so people can get all the way to OCP. But I think this plan is terrific, and I want to know how soon you can make it happen. Really?
Timing should be fairly quick if we can get good weather to get the striping in. It is getting a bit late. We do our striping at night. We really have to. So as long as we can get it scheduled and get it approved and scheduled, it could go in. I don't make the schedules, but again, if it's approved, we'll get it in as quickly as we can.
Okay, that's great. And to something you said at the beginning, I think one of the great improvements that this is making is, with the madness of cars coming out of the square, keeping the parking on one side of the street rather than having it move forward, back and forth from year to year, it's a huge improvement, because at least people have expectations about where the roadway is consistently, and that's a really big plus. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Further comments?
Hey everyone, Brandon Ward, City Councilor, District 2. Really appreciate all the work that went into this plan. I'm going to echo a number of Steve's comments. Mostly, I just want to commend this plan because it takes a ton of different suggestions and ideas that were brought to this commission and to DPW by Steve, by Friends of Saxonville, by me, and instead of taking them piecemeal, has put it all together into one comprehensive, complete plan that I think is going to be really beneficial to the neighborhood and the community. I'll quickly touch on a couple of the items that I think are, that I'm really excited about. So the parking up by the McGrath Square intersection, as Steve mentioned, for small businesses, for the traffic coming out of McGrath Square. I think this is a huge improvement. I very much appreciate the parking as we get down by the Harold Getchell Nature Trail and the work that's gone into that. I stopped by Hillside yesterday. I appreciate that that's already striped out. The pavement looks incredible. And so the fact that this is already in action, I think is a huge plus. To Steve's point around, well, one, I also really appreciate the bump outs that have gone with the crosswalks. I was expecting the bump outs at Cottage Street. I wasn't necessarily expecting the bump out at the crosswalk at Stearns. And so protecting that parking there and protecting both of those crosswalks, I think are huge pluses. I don't think, if the Getchell Trail is so popular that we need the parking all the way up to Stearns, then it's exceeded our wildest expectations. But I don't think we need parking all the way up to Stearns, and I think that would solve the sightline problem. And then lastly, I'll just double click on the inclusion of some type of speed limit sign going up the hill going up the hill on Danforth. Part of what sparked this entire conversation was feedback that I got from residents around the speed on Danforth, the speed that cars were taking the turn onto Cottage. And so not only creating the bump out and the chicane design that slows the traffic, but also posting the speed limit, I think would be a real benefit. So those are my comments. I just want to thank everyone for the work on this. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you. Any comments online?
No, everyone's left.
Okay,
Really. Yep.
so how would you like to proceed?
Can I make a motion to approve the improvements? Sorry, I had my hand raised. I don't know if you guys saw me.
Oh, now I see it.
Yep.
Thanks, Lincoln.
Well,
I think I would like to incorporate a couple of the recommendations. Certainly the signage, I don't think any of the signage proposed would be regulatory. So I'll discuss this with the rest of the Traffic and Transportation Department, and we should have warning signs, the shift, the 25 mile per hour thickly settled speed limit, possibly a park ahead sign. And I think the removal of the last two spaces approaching Stearns Street. Could that be a friendly amendment to your motion, Lincoln?
absolutely. Friendly amendment accepted.
Hey, Matt, the only other comment that was mentioned that I just wanted to echo was if it is possible to extend the bike lane given the persistent width of Danforth, if that could be looked into. And I know this is kind of focused on this particular area between McGrath Square and Cottage, but having that continuity of the infrastructure would be really beneficial and helps link to Old Connecticut Path. So if that could be looked into as well, that would be awesome.
East of Cottage Street on Danforth, we'll look into.
Thank you.
I think we had a motion.
We did. So we had a motion plus a friendly amendment. Do we have a second? Second.
Seconded.
Okay. We'll need to do a roll call vote. Dave, let's start with you.
Yes.
Tom, yes.
Matt, yes?
Kevin?
Yes.
Lincoln?
Yes.
Will?
Yes.
Odine?
Yes.
Excellent. Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. On behalf of the commission.